it's me. Once again, I'm excited to hang out and draw and enjoy some snacks maybe and chit-chat about internet drama without getting too deep or messy or mean or anything like that. And I want the main focus of today's video to be about Jeffree Star and his recent non-apology apology video. Summarize everything he said, give you guys the internet's response, and what it means for everybody going forward. And I also want to talk a little bit about the new Gabbie Hanna video at the end. The video she uploaded as a trailer to her new series that will debut on June 23rd, and what that means for herself and Trisha Paytas. And also remember to like and subscribe if you like this type of atmosphere, and also maybe check out my Patreon and my Etsy shop linked in the description if you like me to paint your dog or your cat or send you stickers in the mail. Before I get into any of that, though, I do want to quickly touch on a subject that I've been getting a few requests to talk about, and that is Creepshow Art. Although my content is pretty much the same genre, truthfully, I don't even really know anything about Creepshow Art, and I don't even really feel like my opinion is that important or insightful because of that. I only ever heard of Creepshow less than a year ago, and I've only watched a handful of her videos ever that were like in my recommended, and I was never drawn to her content. I was never a fan. I was never subscribed to her, and all I really knew about her was that she was a YouTuber that existed on the internet before all the information about her that recently came out. I've watched Emily Artful's video as well as some other brief recaps of the situation from other art commentary YouTubers, but I'm in no position to provide any of my own recaps or insights, again because I was never a fan of Creepshow and I've only watched a few of her videos ever, and they were just some like random drama videos about like Katie Joy and stuff like that I let play in the background while I did dishes and did other stuff like that like 6 months ago or so. So my only opinion is that she's done some really terrible things, and I hope that she's able to get help and or legal repercussions for all the stalking and harassment that she's made other people endure online. And that's all I really have to say about that, and I recommend watching the videos from people who actually knew Creepshow Art or was friends with her, or from people who are more invested in the situation, ex-fans, etc. So again, I truly don't think I could provide anything new or anything more insightful or relevant than other creators, especially her ex-friends or especially Emily Artful. Jeffree Star, on the other hand, I've definitely been invested in Jeffree Star and his content, and I feel like I can provide some better summaries and opinions about him just because I actually like know about him and know about like his drama, and I know about his makeup and his videos because I have been a fan and I have been super invested in the stuff he comes out with. So yeah, I was actually a huge fan of him, especially during the Conspiracy Palette documentary, and in November 2019, I was one of those people waiting in line at the Mall of America for hours to buy the palette from the Morphe store as soon as they opened that morning, and I also attended his meet and greet the next day, and it was actually a really great experience that I look back on with so much happiness and excitement. So it's really unfortunate that my happy memories of November 2019 are tainted with everything I know about Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson now. But that's beside the point. This is about the video that Jeffree Star uploaded earlier this week. So earlier this week, Jeffree Star announced he was releasing his new video, and people started speculating about what it could be about. A lot of people were thinking and hoping the video would be about Morphe, what happened behind the scenes with Morphe dropping Jeffree, and why Jeffree's makeup has been found in stores like TJ Maxx and TK Maxx after Jeffree had shaded makeup brands in the past for selling their overstock to these discount stores. Others wanted to see Jeffree take accountability and address more serious issues like his past or SA allegations, and the allegations that he paid off his alleged SA victims to stay quiet and stop telling their stories to insider articles. But turns out Jeffree's video wasn't about any of that. Shocking, but here are the main points of the video. This is your unofficial official summary if you haven't already watched the full video or if you haven't heard any other creators summarize it. So Jeffree starts out his video by telling us that he is moving out of California, although his business is staying in California, and that he just wants to kind of start a new chapter in a different state. He reminisces about 2019, saying that that was when he had some of his greatest wins and some of his greatest losses, and he lost his dogs and he lost the love of his life that year, and he feels like he lived 10 different lives and ran from the trauma and just covered everything up. He admits that he was super lonely in his LA home even with all his employees and people coming out like it was a hotel. And once he was in his house by himself, he realized that he was just not happy there. And he also talks about how he was not okay during the series that he filmed with Shane Dawson, but it did keep him distracted and it masked the pain with work and not addressing his problems. He also admits that he had a huge ego and bought a huge house, but he regrets not asking for help for it. He learned to love himself from loving someone else, and that he thinks he will be the only person he will ever love, and that is referring to his ex, Nathan. He said that 2020 almost took him out, and he contemplated whether or not he should even be alive. He got caught up in too many other people's drama, and now he ignores drama and won't react to any drama publicly anymore. He apologizes to anyone he had hurt in the past, but says that this isn't an apology video, and then he compares himself to Regina George from Mean Girls. He thinks his car accident and the drama and the ugliness happened for a reason, and it was meant to be, and it was humbling for him. He said he lost millions of followers because of something someone made up about him, but then he kind of backtracks and says he's not going to talk about that. I don't know what that is about. If you have any theories about what or who that is about, let me know in the comments though. He says the past is over and dead and gone, and he's never going to play the victim, and he's embarrassed by his part in the drama. He says he's going to therapy now, says he's in a great place mentally now, and that he's moving out of California for his main residency. There's more to him than his character and his facade, he says, and all he wants to do now is just create. He says he's played into his image too hard with his food and his diet, and he was really unhealthy and working too much and not taking care of himself, and he says he quit fast food. Jeffree says he's ready for the next chapter. His house is for sale, but his companies and Jeffree Star Cosmetics will remain in California. He says mental health is important and we are all human, and he won't address drama anymore, and that person doesn't exist anymore. He says he won't expose anyone, and people attack him all the time, and none of that is positive. So that was the summary, and basically Jeffree is leaving California, leaving behind the drama, and leaving behind his huge mansion and ego and luxurious lifestyle to find happiness and better mental health in another state. He wants the past to stay in the past, and he wants to start a fresh new chapter somewhere else. So right when this video dropped, there was an overwhelming amount of support and positivity in the comments. Even today on Thursday, 2 days after the video is uploaded, the like to dislike ratio is very positive, and the top comments are mostly supportive still. Jeffree is being praised for being honest and transparent, being the most real we have ever seen him in a long time, and many people are expressing how proud they are of him for being an inspiration for good mental health. Many people actually found comfort in the relatability of some of Jeffree's points, with some people thanking him for having the courage to find help, and that the struggle is very relatable and it could help a lot of other people find their own happiness and good mental health as well. I saw an ex-fan actually had something supportive to say as well, with somebody tweeting, "A lot of us had to stop supporting you because of what we were seeing, but growth and self-care, doing better and being better, loved to see it. Wishing you happiness and success in your new chapter of life." So with basically everything I was seeing being so positive, I had to do a little bit of digging to find some good criticism about Jeffree's video, and I saw this tweet by Pastel Bell that I think made a really good point, saying, "So many people blindly eating up the new Jeffree Star apology video. Sorry, but you don't get to cause the damage and pain he did, then bury a weak apology in the middle of a 25-minute video and say, now I'm free. If you're seriously sorry, start by addressing the payoff to your SA victims." So regarding addressing the SA and SA victims, I'm not sure how well legally that would have gone down online though. If Jeffree was to address the SA allegations, that is something way deeper than internet drama in my opinion, and that's an actual real life crime that needs to be handled in an actual real life court, and the court of public opinion doesn't matter at all when it comes to SA and actual crimes, because there's only one right answer that essay is terrible, and the people committing those crimes need to serve time and endure the punishment and justice of those crimes. I'm hoping that is all still being dealt with behind the scenes, and I do believe in karma, so if these allegations are indeed true, then I do believe the crimes will catch up to Jeffree eventually, and I personally don't see how that can be handled in a YouTube video or on Twitter. If a crime has been committed, the offender needs to be served justice in real life and not just the internet, and I don't think what the internet has to say really matters in that type of situation, honestly. I've also seen a ton of people focusing on money and what the underlying message of this video had to do with money, and how this video basically boils down to being about Jeffree Star running out of money. I don't really see how that matters, honestly. I don't care about how much money Jeffree Star has or doesn't have, and I don't really see how that's my business either, like, compared to the issues that we can be upset about, like crime and racism. I don't see how speculating about money is helpful or productive in any way, so that's all I have to say about that. So in conclusion to the Jeffree situation, remember we're still going to talk about Gabbie Hanna in a second, so don't click off yet, but in conclusion to the Jeffree Star situation, I do think that Jeffree objectively did spread some positive messages in his video if they actually did help some people be inspired to go see a therapist and start a better chapter themselves. And if that did happen, then there's nothing bad I can say about that specifically, honestly. And I do think there is such thing as toxic positivity, and I do think there was a lot of that in Jeffree's comments and replies as well, especially from his diehard fans that absolutely are just obsessed with him and know about the crimes and the controversy but still choose to blindly support him. But for the small number of people who actually found some light and got some help or were inspired to go get help, I am happy for those people. And I also hope that any crimes Jeffree has committed catches up to him eventually, and I hope that those actually get dealt with in real life, because nobody's internet opinion matters when there's actual victims out there in the real world seeking justice. Alright, now let's briefly talk about Gabbie Hanna. So I watched Gabbie Hanna's new video, and honestly, I'm just more confused, and I have no new takeaways compared to what I already thought before. So Gabbie's new video, it was some released footage from her podcast with Trisha Paytas that was filmed in January of this year from a segment that was originally cut out. The conversation was basically Gabbie telling Trisha, "You said this to me, we did this together," and Trisha saying, "No, that never happened, no, I never said that," etc. And there was some actual parts in the Gabbie video where Gabbie was right and provided screenshots of where this conversation that she said happened, that Trisha denied. But Gabbie was wrong about some other things too, like how she thought Trisha shared poetry with Gabbie, which never happened. All they did was talk about poetry together in their texts. And there was a ton of other examples and situations like this where sometimes Gabbie was right and provided screenshots of where this conversation happened. And there's other situations where Gabbie was wrong, and those can be found in one of Trisha's videos where Trisha said, "Look, you admitted that this never happened." It's just confusing. It doesn't even really matter either. Like, seriously, and like overall, I just think my opinion about the situation is, who cares and why does all of this matter? The issue here is still just this. Both Gabbie and Trisha misremembered things. They both had different perceptions of their relationship, and they were both wrong about some things and they were both right about some things. But me, as someone who believes in picking battles, this is a really weird battle to pick, and it doesn't really matter. Nobody is right or wrong in the situation, and I feel like everyone just needs to let this one go. Especially when Gabbie still hasn't addressed the phone calls with Jessie Smiles, and especially when Gabbie is straight up blocking her own fans and Twitter mutuals for asking her questions and questioning their support for her. Like, why is this what she wants to lead with, and why is this so important? It's not. And because this episode that Gabbie released, at the end, she types that she is going to address everything. So unfortunately, I do think that means that she's going to try to expose Jessie Smiles, which is really hurtful to think about. I don't see how anything Gabbie could say or do or show screenshots of will make Gabbie appear to be the one who was in the right this whole time or anything like that. I think she's just needs to apologize to Jessie and never bring it up again. And I think a video about Jessie at this point could only do more harm than good. And I just want Jessie to enjoy her family and her pregnancy without any more back and forth. In the end, Gabbie did remind Jessie that nobody believed her about her essay at first, and Gabbie did hang out with Curtis and his friends. Gabbie did take a selfie with him, and Gabbie did hear his side of the story, and those phone calls proved all of those things. And those things need to be apologized for to Jessie directly, and anything else is just too much. So, on a lighter note, I hope you're still doodling or making some art if that's something that you decided to do at the beginning of this video with me. And if you did, I would love to see what you made by tagging me on Instagram or Twitter at PaintandSipYT. And here is some of the art that my viewers made during my previous videos. Once again, please subscribe if you haven't already and if you feel like it. And check out my social media and my Patreon and Etsy shop linked in my bio. Or not in the bio, in the description if you would like to support me in other ways. Or you could just leave this video a thumbs up because that's very supportive as well. Thank you so much for watching and stay creative. See you next time.